Now let's talk about relationships. Of course, relationships are an essential part of our being. And on our relationship segment today, we will be talking about finding joy after divorce. And joining us for that conversation is Amaka Chika-Mbonu, motivational speaker, certified counselor, and a cognitive behavioral therapist. It's such a pleasure to have you in the studio with us
today.
Great
to be here.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're just going to hit the nail on the head, okay? So most people think divorce is the end of their lives, literally. So when you talk about finding joy after a divorce, what does that mean?
Well, I'm going to start by saying that divorce is never really ideal. Marriage is really supposed to be for a lifetime, not just a moment in time. But divorce does happen, and sometimes there are actually circumstances where it just has to happen. And so finding joy after is simply recognizing, like you said, that divorce is not the end of your life. Nothing really is. As long as there's life, there really is always hope. And so it would be a matter of looking inside yourself, identifying the reasons why this has happened, and finding that you can pick up the pieces and move on and possibly even find happiness again in relation to a personal relationship. Yeah, that's what I'll say about it. Finding joy would be looking inside yourself, identifying the reasons why this happened. And if it was a decision you made, I guess sticking by that decision and owning that decision. And even if you feel maybe you were precipitate in doing so, you learn for the next time or for whatever else you do.
Okay, so tell us about how you can find joy after divorce.
One of the ways you'll find joy after divorce is exactly what I said, owning what has happened, your part in it, in what has caused the divorce, and confronting it and accepting it, and then finding things to fill your life again, discovering who you are, looking inside yourself, becoming more self-aware, identifying the reasons that your relationship did fail, and then beginning to look at yourself again from a completely different perspective, taking ownership of what has happened, looking for the things you enjoy, possibly if you've lost yourself in the relationship you were in, if that was part of the problem, rediscovering yourself. What do you like? Who are you? Would you like to have another relationship? If you did, what would you do differently? What are your hobbies? What are what are the things you like to rediscover you, kind of thing? Because sometimes in relationships, we tend to lose ourselves. And so finding joy would be a rediscovery of who you are, what you are, and what life going forward means to you.
Okay, so in a situation where you're probably going through a harrowing experience during the divorce process, because we all know that nobody comes out of a divorce unscathed.
Yeah.
How can you rediscover yourself before you even go into finding the joy? Because first you need to find yourself, as you said, before even finding the joy. So how can you rediscover yourself?
I think one of the ways to rediscover oneself, you rediscover yourself by rediscovering yourself. What do I like? Who am I? Who was I before this relationship? Do I want to go out and meet new people? And then you take active steps towards doing that. Do I want to improve myself? Do I want to travel? Do I want to just stay at home and watch movies or think about myself or meditate or re-engage with my faith? Everything to do with discovering joy, because joy would mean different things for different people. It's going to be very personal to what you are, who you are, what you believe in. And it will be a rediscovery of those things that will bring you joy. A lot of times it's good to look back before the relationship to who you were before then. Because in relationships, sometimes we adapt and we kind of subsume ourselves in the relationship and you lose you. I think the first step towards joy would be a rediscovery of self. And you would rediscover self by exploring different things, maybe going out with a couple of friends, re-establishing contact with friends you've lost contact with, things like that. Do you like to read? Did you like to read before? Do you still like to? Do you like to travel? Do you still like to? It would be it's difficult to say categorically because it would differ for each person, but a rediscovery of self. And you do that by self-meditating, by introspecting, and then taking action to do those things.
Now, there's a recent trend these days, like we have people throw a divorce party. Do you think it's healthy? Do you think it's right?
Well, I'm not going to knock anybody, but personally, I think post a divorce, it would be best to sit back and look at what happened. Marriage, ideally, is supposed to be, like I said, for a lifetime and not just a moment in time. So throwing a divorce party, I'm not going to knock anyone, like I said, but personally, that would not be the first thing I would think one would be thinking of doing post the divorce. I think it would be a time of great introspection and, you know, reflection.
Okay. Well, technically for me, I would say that many people are married without a marriage certificate these days. So marriage itself.
What do you mean by married without a marriage certificate?
Married without a marriage certificate.
So living,
exactly
like
as
living.
I said, exactly.
Okay, living together. Okay.
And all. So for them, when they get a divorce, it's more like, okay, I just ended a relationship. Let's move on to the next.
Yeah, but it isn't really, is it? No.
But that's what many people believe. So I think that's what the people who throw that divorce party, I think.
Yeah, but what?
But hey,
I was going to go
Thank
now.
you so much.
All right, great.
We'll take this quick break. Wake Up Nigeria continues in a bit.
Okay.